Welcome to another episode of Adventures with Time. About a month ago, I did a smackdown where I rated two chronographs head to head to determine which watch was better suited to my needs. Well, it's time for another watch comparison. On this episode, I'm comparing two affordable divers. One from the huge brand Seiko, the Seiko Samurai, and the other from a small micro brand, the Islander Automatic Diver. Stay tuned to see how these two watches stack up. Last month, I compared and scored the Stratton Ligera, a racing-style chronograph, against the Seagull 1963, an aviation-style chronograph based on the historical Chinese Air Force watch. I'll leave a link up here to that episode if you care to see it. For this episode, I'm going to provide a different type of comparison, one that is not scored to determine which watch is best suitable for me. Rather, I want to compare and contrast these two dive watches so you can determine which might be more suitable for you. Since I don't know each of your likes and needs, I can't determine how you would score them. However, I can provide my thoughts and opinions, how I view the good and the bad aspects of these watches to help you evaluate the suitability of each watch for your collection. Let's first take a look at the specifications of each watch. I'm not going to go over the specifications of these two watches in detail. You guys can read that for yourself. I want to point out a few differences, so you know which watches we're talking about. The Samurai is the Seiko SRPB 55, while the Islander Diver is model ISL-008. Both of these watches come with a fairly similar Seiko movement. The Samurai with the 4R35, and the Islander comes with a similar Seiko movement, but intended for non-Seiko watches. That's the SII NH36. These two watches have very similar dimensions, with only about a millimeter difference in any one of the specs. One of the places that these two watches do differ is with the lume. Now, I'm not a lume junkie, but some of you may enjoy a good lume. So I'll point out that the Samurai comes with Lumer-Bright on the hands and on the hour indices. The Islander, on the other hand, uses Superluminova and has it on the hands, the hour indices, as well as the bezel indicators. And I do think it has a more intensive and long-lasting glow. Another area where these watches differ is in the finish. Now, they both have a stainless steel case, but the Samurai is finished with black PVD coating, while the Islander has both a high polish and satin finish to it. Of course, my Samurai has a black dial, and the Islander has that bright yellow dial. But now let's get into some of the more subjective aspects of this comparison. And I'm going to use the same 10 categories I used in the chronograph smackdown. I'm just not going to score them, as I said before. First up is design, which in my comparison applies to the suitability for the purpose of the watch. And you'll see that for these two watches, this is an important category for me to start with. These watches are both technically divers. Both have a 200-meter water resistance rating and come with a diver bezel. But in my view, even though both of them are suitable as divers, I feel that the Samurai has a more rugged vibe to it. That black dial and black PVD coating gives the impression that this is really a tool watch. On the other hand, I find the Islander to have a more dressy feeling to it, with those polished case accents and that playful yellow dial. I've been using the Samurai for any sort of water sport or beach activity. I'll take it in the water, I'll sit on the beach with it, or I'll even wear it working outside. I don't mind if it gets scratched. Whereas I feel the Islander fits into a more casual or laid-back scenario. Going out to dinner, visiting friends, out on the town, or even working. Next category is movement. And here they're pretty much both the same, using the same based movement. Even though the Islander has more functionality in that it has both a day and a date, as opposed to the Samurai, which just has the date. Now, I know some of you may have seen my earlier videos and my playlist, which again, I'll leave a link up here, where I talk about the issues I had with the Samurai and its movement. But I'm not considering that as a judgment of the overall Seiko movement. I think that was just an issue with the movement I had, or maybe something I did to it, like getting it magnetized. So for me, this movement is very acceptable for a watch in this price range. The next category I used is prestige. This is really how the watch would interest or intrigue others. For Seiko, I think this is a double-edged sword. Seiko is a well-known brand with lots of history. But to some, the brand implies lower price or lower quality. I don't really adhere to that, but I know that thought exists out there among watch collectors. Also, the converse. Some people feel that Seiko is a great watch company and collect their watches exclusively. Now, the Islander is going to be probably unfamiliar to most non-collectors. Even collectors, if you're not familiar with Mark from Long Island Watch, the creator of the Islander brand, you probably don't know this watch. Suffice it to say that I don't think anybody is buying either of these watches based on the prestige of the company or the brand. Now we come to quality, which is the materials and finish and craftsmanship and any extras of the watch. There are only a couple points here to make with quality. I think they're both well made. You'll note that the Islander does come with a sapphire crystal, which many consider to be a step up from Hardlex. Plus, the Islander comes with a very nice stainless steel bracelet. The Samurai came on a rubber strap, which in itself isn't bad for a dive watch. But if you looked at my original video of this watch, you'll see that I had to swap out the original rubber strap because there was something happening with it where the coating or the surface was starting to peel. So I bought another tropical rubber strap, and that does fine with this watch. Now we come to aesthetics. And this really has to do with how you're going to use this watch. As I pointed out during the discussion on design, I get a totally different impression from these two watches. The Samurai, with its thick and angular case and almost totally black appearance, gives it more of a tool watch feeling. When wearing this watch, I definitely feel like I'm out for some water or work activities. In contrast, the Islander, with its stainless steel case and bracelet and highly polished accents, gives off the air of dressiness or of more relaxed wearing scenarios. The yellow dial is very flashy and obvious. Hence, I feel it more appropriate to wear this watch in more casual settings. But don't get me wrong, I appreciate and love each of these watches for what they separately bring to my collection. Versatility is the next category. That is, in how many situations can you wear each of these watches? Again, my opinion is that the Samurai is mostly a tool watch that is perfectly suited for the water, which could be worn out and about in most non-dress situations. I don't see wearing it with a suit and a tie. Sort of the opposite, in my opinion, for the Islander. Mostly, I feel it's a casual wear watch. It seems too stylish, and I do feel you could wear it with a suit and a tie. Wearability is the category where we consider how well the watch feels. Now, both of these watches feel very comfortable for long wear. They feel very good on my 7 7/8 inch wrist. Of course, the Islander on the bracelet will be a little heavier than the Samurai on the rubber strap. Durability considers how long the watch will last and how much of an impact or rough handling can it take. The only specification difference here is the differences in the crystal. Again, the Islander has a sapphire crystal and the Samurai has a hardlex crystal. But for me, I want the Samurai to get knocked up, to have that PVD coating scratched a bit, to get some dings in it. I feel it deserves that as a tool watch. I feel differently about the Islander, and this is where I may get some disagreements or harsh criticism. To me, the Islander is a very stylish watch. Hence, I really want to avoid getting it dinged or nicked or scratched. I don't really consider that babying the watch. I just feel it will retain its visual vibrance and look if I avoid getting a lot of scratches or swirl marks on that polished case, even though it is considered a dive watch. Captivation. This is really interest that others might take in your watch. Again, the Samurai won't have much appeal or attraction other than once it's really worn in with some dings and scratches. Wearing this might make people think that I'm really a sportsman. Hard to believe in my case. Whereas with the Islander, the attraction people are going to get is by that vibrant yellow dial and the reflections of that polished case. 99% of the people, if they look at the watch, won't know what an Islander watch is. They'll just look at it and say, boy, that's a very nice looking watch. Finally, we get down to value. If we consider that both watches cost roughly the same, about $300, you need to consider what you're getting for that money. And here I consider them both to have an equal value proposition. Yes, they're meant for different things. Yes, the Islander comes with a bracelet, comes with a sapphire crystal, comes with that day-date complication. But for me, it's meant for different wearing environments. I think either one is well suited for your purposes. My key takeaway on this comparison is that for me, each watch serves a different purpose. Yes, you can use either one for diving, taking it to the pool, wearing it on the beach, getting it scratched up, but I like to use the Samurai when I'm going to be in a more rugged environment. I want it to get knocked around, scratched up, and look like a real tool watch. And it has that appearance of a tool watch that fits into these activities. The Islander has a more casual feel, as I've said. Yes, certainly it can be worn in the water or in any of those more active environments and get knocked up and scratched just as the Samurai. But I enjoy this watch in a more relaxed atmosphere, out for dinner, around town, and work, if I still worked and wasn't retired, and around the house. But how do you perceive these two watches? In what scenarios would you wear them at all? Would you, like me, consider one a real tool watch and one a more casual watch? Or would you pick one of them and use them in both activities? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, let me know if you're enjoying these watch comparison videos. I have a few other in mind to do. If so, please consider a thumbs up for this video. It helps me out greatly in providing the appropriate content for you to view. And don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so already. Until my next video, I wish you well and thank you for your time.